Sonny, Joey, 500. Got some goats in the building.
Get ready for a shakedown.
Prepare for a shakedown. We from Philly where they clap like huddles when they break down. Get ready for a shakedown. We underdogs, my guy. Kinda used to all the hate now. Prepare for it, man. Y'all get it. My QB got swag. My wideout is award winning. His fly was fly. Joey and 500. Like and subscribe. Yeah. Here's a quote you can sing back. Shake squad up and don't be a dingbat. It's a shakedown.
Don't you frown. Here comes the shakedown.
Let's go.
You by the way, Dingbat here. Welcome to the Philly Shakedown podcast with Philly 500 and Joey Shakes. And Joey, what is happening, my man? How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm just chilling. I'm, getting ready for the off-season program, and we're getting there. It's gonna come by quick, so we got some things to talk about.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. And happy Memorial Day to everybody out there. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Yeah, we are getting into that time of the year where you think your roster is like 85-90% set. However, there's still possibly some tweaking that's going to go on, and we're gonna talk about some interesting things that might be on the horizon. Stinky Fish, what's going on? KGK, Brian, thank you guys for being here. Chris North, Daniel Thun, where's Mr. Miyagi? Big Ben, MJ, Brian, thank you guys for being here. Logan Motorsports, Rosie, Ian 890, Nathan, and anybody I missed, I apologize. Radiation Bots, member for 33 months. Thank you so much. Don't you frown. Here comes Philly Shakedown. Hell yeah. Shakedown. And speaking of Shakedown, I apologize for being late. We got a little bit in a conversation about The Last of Us and my displeasure with what that show has become. I just can't get over the fact they killed Joel. It just kills me. It kills me. So I apologize for that. But speaking of the Eagles, I want to talk about a possible rumor here. Now, question is will this team look to add defensive players? That's the question. And right now, there's a report that Vic Fangio wants to go all in on another Super Bowl repeat, and one of the guys he would like to add is Von Miller. And if you remember, Von Miller, I believe, played for Fangio before.
Right.
I think this is a really, really interesting possibility because Von Miller's older. He's not going to start. He'd be a rotational guy. But if he could come in and get you, I don't know, 6 sacks maybe as a rotational guy, maybe take over that veteran presence of BG, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing at all. He'd probably be cheap. And shout out to Clark for sending me this information on Twitter earlier. I had a conversation with him. We were talking about it, but he sent that to me. What do you think? He's 36 years old, by the way. He had 6 sacks last year, though. He played. His snaps were way down. Still had 6 sacks. 13 games. To me, if you want to add another pass rusher, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea, personally.
Yeah, I saw this news all over the place today, and I guess, we really want to push Bryce Huff out as much as possible.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm driving him to the airport. I already filled the tank. I'm driving him to the airport. June 1st, I told my wife I'm flying June 1st. I'm flying to Philly.
Yeah,
driving to the airport.
So we've talked about like ex-Vic Fangio players. We talk about Justin Simmons, and because you bring a player that was successful under Fangio, that they'll put them in the right position and they'll be successful in this defense, which is great. But the only thing with Von Miller that's kind of probably bad to why they probably would stop from signing him. I think he was suspended 4 games from hitting his pregnant girlfriend, I think, last year.
Wait, what?
What? He was suspended.
Forget him. It's over. No, forget that.
No.
Is that real?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that he got suspended. He one of the NFL policies. I think he ended up getting in trouble for hitting his pregnant girlfriend like last year, and it went all over the place. And he got suspended for games. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying that's funny. I'm just saying it's Billy's face.
Thanks for joining us.
It's Billy's face.
Thanks. I had no idea. I don't remember any of that. That's crazy because there's no chance that the Eagles will sign him. So, anyways, on to the next rumor.
Thank you, Clark.
That's like self-destruction if that's true. Nick, thank you for the super chat. He goes, I think Ramsey is going to be an Eagle or Simmons. Ramsey is interesting guy, but speaking of Von Miller, well, if that stuff is true, and I don't know what the situation with that is, then I don't think the Eagles will have any interest. But if it's not, or he was cleared, or if it was, whatever, they do the research. Just in terms of football player, I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea to bring in a guy who could rotate in with some veteran presence. I don't think they have to do it. I don't think it's necessary, but I don't think it could hurt.
Right.
Fitness Roofer says, "What's good, Philly 500 and Joey, and all Eagles Nation family? What's going on, my man? What's going on? Making money now, for instance. Do you think Trotter starts? It's interesting. We should talk a little bit about Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean was shown playing basketball. I'm sure you guys have all seen the clips of the Eagle players all playing. And the one thing with Nakobe Dean was he was out there moving around. He wasn't limping. He was moving well. He had no brace or anything on, dude. It looks like he's ahead of schedule. And if he can go, I think he'll go.
Yeah, this is what Nakobe Dean had to say. So he said there was way more flexibility, of course, way more mobility. It's definitely something that's helping with my rehab. You just feel a change immediately. After you stretch, you're not as tight or as sore. My whole thing is trying to be the absolute best version of myself. For me, that's greatness. If I'm striving to be that every day and doing whatever it takes to be that. So he looked really good. I mean, he did. I mean, it's still, at least we know that brace, was going to be off, it was off like March, April, something like that. But now it comes down to like his future. Like he's going to be the big question by the end of the 25 season, and to see in the 25 season this season, if he's even going to even have a shot at playing time at the end of the year, So, I mean, unless there's injuries and he's there, he's available during the playoffs, and how early he's going to come back. And it's going to take him a few weeks to kind of, if he's not going to get playing time. So it's almost like he's almost out for this year for me. And it comes down to, is he going to get a contract for, a cheaper contract for a few years?
You think he's pretty much not going to play? Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out. Clark, welcome to Dingbat Nation, but man, shout out to you, man. Thank you so much, man, for joining. I think if Dean can't go, I would think that Jahad Campbell is going to end up starting. That's what I would think would start. If once he's ready and he's healthy, ready to go. But I mean, I believe Trotter's more than capable of playing in this league. I actually liked what I saw of Trotter last year. I do think he needs to get a little better tackling, a little stronger. But I mean, he was very instinctive. I thought he a lot of times he was like ahead of the play. He just couldn't finish. There were a couple times where he had guys in the backfield. He just missed, he just let him go off the tackle. So I like Trotter. I
feel like he's like literally an injury away from being the starter. I believe that. I believe Fangio does like him a lot. With Zach Bond being here, this year and next year, Jahad Campbell is missing time, but we don't know. I mean, he'll make it by the regular season. We don't know how much time he's missing in training camp. Apparently, he's not missing any time in training camp. So with Nakobe Dean being out now, Fangio is going to see a lot. And if Bond and Campbell are the starters, okay, he's going to see a lot of Smile Munden from Georgia. He's going to see, he's going to see a lot of these other guys and Trotter and Ben Van Sermon, depending, if they're going to give him playing time at linebacker or more at fullback. so it's almost an uphill battle for Nakobe Dean coming back, man. It's almost like, unless there's injuries, it's tough. It's really tough because, this patellar tendon injury, some players come off that injury, back to what they used to be. And some of them are, never the same as they were, because it's a serious knee injury. So I'm glad he's moving around. I mean, that's a really good sign. So he's, we have, I believe we have the best doctors, health, agency in the league. So, I think they'll do right by him. And obviously the Eagles are overprotective of their players. Like if you're 99% healthy, they won't even play you. That's just how they are. So yeah, dude, it just sucks. It just sucks.
So let's say for argument's sake, Nakobe Dean comes back week 5 or week 6, and he's ready to go. And let's say he plays and he plays well and he plays like his former self. How do you play? What do you do with Jahad Campbell? Well, what's the plan?
Put him on the edge. I mean,
you make him an edge rusher.
Yeah.
See, it almost makes me wonder. Like, I almost wonder, do they worry about Nakobe Dean going forward, and with that injury, and that's why they took Jahad Campbell? Because Jahad Campbell, I think, really, I mean, maybe he can rush the passer. We're going to find out. They think the Eagles obviously think at times he can do it, but I think they also think that he's very much like, I think they see him as like a Zach Bond kind of guy.
I do. You know what? Putting him as an off-ball edge, off-ball on the edge wouldn't be bad either, because he likes those edge rushers to go back in coverage, and we really didn't have a lot of those the last couple years, to where we were kind of worrying when Vic Fangio became the head coach. You're changing the scheme. We don't have edge rushers that, you're pretty much changing the whole scheme to not the player's strengths. We were kind of freaking out about that. So, I mean, that's the only way I could think he's going to get playing time. Like, Fangio goes by how these guys look at practice, but this is a first-round pick you're talking about, so I mean,
yeah. Well, like I hope he comes back. Man, he was so good last year. We don't talk enough about how good Nakobe Dean was, because of 2 reasons. One, Zach Bond was even better. And then I think the way Oren Burks played in the playoffs. But I thought Nakobe Dean, man, I thought he was a tone setter last year. So I hope he's okay. I really do.
Yeah, same.
But Craig goes, Mark Holmes says the Eagles want Amari Cooper. Yeah, Mark Holmes is trying to start shit. I saw his videos today. He said that he basically said that Tyler Booker is gonna basically bitch slap Jalen Carter, and that Jalen Carter's in big trouble playing him. The guy's never taken 1 snap, and he's talking shit like that. As far as Amari Cooper goes, he also was like, well, if the Eagles get Amari Cooper, Philly 500 said Amari Cooper, he called him Amari Cooper, all that stuff. If the Eagles got Amari Cooper, he'd be the 3rd wide receiver, not their number 1 wide receiver.
Right.
Big difference. I don't personally want Amari Cooper, but if the Eagles decide to go out and get him, I mean, it's fine. I think Jahan Dotson's going to be much better than people think.
I don't know why people would even dog on Jahan Dotson at all, because I think he's just, I mean, I mean, you could even call him, he could start as a number 1 for another team right now to a 2. And I mean, Eagles didn't throw to him that much during the regular season, but man, like, because there was no really much tape on him during the year, they took advantage of it in the playoffs of the Super Bowl, and look what he did. Had a touchdown and 2 big catches in the Super Bowl. So I mean, they actually started to throw to him more in the playoffs, if I can remember, especially in that.
Yeah, he had a touchdown in the Packers game, right, early on in that game. Yeah, I thought he kind of came on at the end of the year. I think a full off season with the Eagles being around, I think as a 3rd wide receiver, I think he may be a little more productive than people think he's going to be.
So is this going to be the year? Is this going to be the offseason program right before the season starts? Are they going to make a trade? Are they going to sign a free agent that's out there? That's going to be the question, because usually they will trade or sign somebody last second before the season starts, and that's usually their MO.
I think so. We got June 1st coming. And I think once June 1st hits, I think they start shopping Bryce Huff. I think they're going to try to trade him. Now, I don't think they're going to be able to trade him right away, but I think you wait till training camp. You wait till somebody gets hurt on a team. the Eagles are going to basically give him away. I think that will happen. And I do think there are moves still to be made. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Clark, thank you for super chat, my man. He goes, I didn't know that stuff about Von. Yeah, I didn't either. You know, but
yeah,
you know,
bad.
I have to look into it and see. But yeah, that's crazy. House Cat, thank you for super chat. He goes, I hope y'all are doing well. My girlfriend Sarah and I are watching together this evening. Love the content as always. Thank you, House Cat, and shout out to you. Appreciate that so much. So yeah, I mean, there are moves to be made. The question is what will it be? I mean, Justin Simmons is still out there. They can do that. It seems like at any time if they really want to.
He's waiting.
You gotta wonder.
He's waiting.
Yeah, I think he's waiting till camp. I think he wants to avoid all the OTAs and all the mini camps and all that crap, and then come in right as camp starts. The other one is corner. Like, do the Eagles trust Kylie Ringo? Do they feel that he can be that guy? Do they trust Adoree Jackson? Or is this Jalen Ramsey chatter real? I think the Eagles have definitely talked to Miami. There's too much smoke there to not be any fire. However, that doesn't mean that they're going to go out and get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the talk is fine for Jalen Ramsey. The cap numbers for him the next 3 years are astronomical, so I don't know how you'd even pull off a trade like that. But I think this is the time where you have to let things play out with Kelee Ringo and see what he does as a number 2. And if they feel like they need to make a panic move or some type of decision, I don't know if you go in on Jalen Ramsey, you know, make a panic move and figure out a contract situation. You know, he's 4 years younger than 3 or 4 years younger than Slay. So he's a little younger, which is good, but it's going to be tough, man. You know, AJ Brown had those really good, nice things to say about Kelee Ringo and how he defends him at practice, and you know, watch out for Kelee Ringo. You know, I understand these. Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, don't you get, like, Philly, like, these guys don't get reps during the year, and when they do, they don't look great. You know, Sidney Brown comes in for a game, he misses a couple of tackles. Like, what do you expect these guys to do? What do you expect them to look like when they just jump into a game in hot water? Right. You know, and they're not playing. They don't have reps.
They come in, and the teams know that they come in, and they throw right at them to test them right away.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's very hard. I thought it was hard to judge Isaiah Rodgers and Ringo because of that. Now, me personally, the Ramsey thing to me is interesting, but I would prefer to give Ringo a chance. You know, the other thing with Ramsey is there's also talks now. I saw that Dallas is really interested in him, and they want to move him to safety, which I think if I was Ramsey, I think moving him to safety would add about 3-4 years on his career, because I think he could probably play safety at a high level. So that's something to keep in mind too. Alfredo says, Smile Mundan is starting, not Trotter. He might.
God, never mind. I'm not. I'm just gonna let you just keep going. Just keep going.
All right. I don't know what I did. I thought I said his name. Blaine Miner, thank you for super chat. He goes, I hope they get rid of Huff, but they haven't replaced Reddick. I think Reddick is. I think Reddick is replaced. I think Nolan Smith took Reddick's spot.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the super chat. I mean, I don't know. I look at, like, you know, looking at the edge rushers. I mean, geez, you got Nolan Smith Jr. I think he's a double-digit sack guy. I think Jalix Hunt is the star that everybody's going to be shocked about this year. Then you got Uche, and then I thought that Azeez Ojulari is a huge signing. So I actually think they got depth there. I don't think they necessarily need a vet. If they bring one in, it can't hurt. That's fine. But, you know, you look at some of the guys like Hendrickson, right? And then you look at Watt. Those guys you got to give $40 million to. Ooh. You know, that stunts the growth of Jalix Hunt. No, you're like, I don't want to do that. But a guy that could rotate in, you know, even if it was like Clowney, which I just don't think the Eagles like Clowney, like somebody to rotate in. If you want to add depth there, I'm okay with it. But I don't think the Eagles want Huff back. I just don't.
Yeah, you're signing guys on the edge that are like between 25 to 27 years old that are on the last year of their deals, and they're kind of betting on themselves with a team just coming off a Super Bowl. So that is their let me get another contract with another team. Going to the Eagles, this is perfect for me, and it's gonna work these guys. They're gonna work so much harder and really want it. That's why I think the edge rush position is going to be crazy because there's just so many bodies there now. And even if you try to add more, it's going to get crazy over there. So, it's I think we're in a good spot. We just got to like I said, we just got to let everything play out, and then we get to see what we got to see.
Yeah. Chaz says, get Ramsey. Interesting. And then Danito, thank you for super chat, says, I'm okay with giving Huff another chance to compete. Well, if he doesn't get traded, then he has to find a way to be part of it. I actually feel pretty good about the defensive line. I actually feel good about the linebackers. I actually feel good about Ringo. I actually do. I think safety is where it's like, all right, what do we have? Sidney Brown's going to get a chance. And then the kid we drafted, Makuba, who I really like.
Yeah.
But we don't know what he is yet until he, takes some reps.
Right.
That could be the big hole on your defense early.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. Tim says, guys, I mean this. The Eagles are about to go on a hunting spree. The disrespect that the team's getting is just fuel to this engine. 500, Joey, this team will be wild. It will be. And speaking of disrespect and stuff, we should talk a little bit about the whole tush push thing because the band, like it felt like it was a certainty going to happen the morning of, and it falls through, man. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, bro, like the morning, it just seemed like I was sitting on X just because I was like, I just want to see how this thing unfolds because all the rumors leading up in that morning were it was going to get banned. That was all the rumors. It's going to get banned. It's going to happen. And then we see that, Jeffrey Lurie was there, Don Smolinski, some of the really higher up guys. But then our boy, we've been talking about Jason Kelce. My brother. He showed up. He shows up, and I'm like, wow. And he's going there. I'm like, I'm hoping he's not going there to, because there was rumors going around that morning that that Jason Kelce told somebody that he ended up getting his career ended because he was hurt on the tush push or something like that. I think that was false rumors, but it was an emotional. It was a very, they gave their speeches and they were very demanding. And Lurie was pretty much, look, whatever happens, if it gets banned or not, we're going out Super Bowl champions. Like, we're not just going to be like, oh, we're going to feel bad about this now. And if this thing was banned, I feel like maybe not fans, but I think the world would be like, then would go into this season in 25 saying, well, the Eagles, what can the Eagles do without the tush push? And that would be the whole next segment of this whole thing. And, that Super Bowl doesn't count now because the Eagles used that tush push so many times during the year. So then all of a sudden it was 22 votes to 10. They needed 2 more votes to cancel, to get rid of the tush push for the 25 season. And there's a lot of speculation behind this commissioner now that he's been behind the scenes, hence why this was postponed from May till this past month. He's been trying to swing the votes for this tush push to get banned, and he couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it. I knew it was serious. I knew Kelce wasn't playing when he came in and wasn't wearing flip-flops. I said, oh, shit, he's here for business today. I knew it. He always got them stupid flip-flops on. And he didn't have them on. I knew, all right, this is serious. But shout out to the Detroit Lions on being a real team. I can respect the Lions, man. They said, you know what? They're the only team on the Eagles' schedule that didn't vote to ban it. Everybody else that were playing voted to ban it. But then at least the Detroit Lions are saying, hey, if we're gonna beat you, we're gonna beat you the right way. So I have respect for the Lions, dude. We can play them. It could be a heavyweight fight, but I do have respect for what they did because I thought that, to me, they showed that they at least have some sort of toughness, man. I think it was cowardly a lot of what these teams did. Like if you look at, especially Buffalo gets on my nerves more than maybe the Green Bay, because Buffalo coach came out and complained and cried about how it's a safety issue. And even though the data doesn't show it, he's still concerned about it. Yeah, he ran it all the time. He shouldn't run it at all. He should never run it again after all the things he said about it. But I thought they were all cowardly the way they were about that.
The Packers were pushing this thing like there was no tomorrow. I mean, I think the Packers were pushing really hard for this thing to really get banned, but it didn't happen. And I know the Colts didn't vote. The Colts voted against it. I know that the Cardinals voted against it with Steichen and Gannon, but we have to realize too that some of these head coaches, the franchises have no control over. Sometimes the owners have more control than the head coaches have control of that.
Jonathan Gannon is just, dude. I'm sorry, dude. He just betrays at all levels. Jonathan Gannon, doesn't he? Shout out to Kellen Moore for not banning it, dude.
Yeah.
Of course. Kellen Moore, at least, but you watch all these teams try to run it next year anyways, because they don't believe that injuries were a concern. They were purely, at least Jerry Jones had the balls to be honest. It was like anything that could take the advantage away from the team.
There was no injuries on it when they had the meeting in May. There was no injuries, and then they still postponed it. He was trying to, and let me tell you, like I think this is going to be the number one thing, because the Eagles won the Super Bowl and used this play. The number one thing that was talked about, that was the most like these owner meetings. The number one thing has been the tush push. Why? I don't know. There's other things to talk about. Why don't we talk about let's talk about the turf at MetLife. Let's talk about guys getting hurt, getting more injuries on, the turf at MetLife or something like that. I'm just trying to make things up like that actually makes sense. That guys, everyone hates playing at certain
stupid kickoff rules because they suck. I hate those kickoff rules.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Master Eagle, thank you for super chat. He goes, Big Dog 500. It would be amazing. You could join me on September 4th. Yeah, man, it would be awesome. You never know. I'll have to kind of sort things out after June and figure it out. Master Eagle, thank you for super chat again. Oh, I think I read that. Oh no, I didn't click on this one. Thank you for super chat. It's me and Mark on September 4th. There you go. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But I don't know. I think it's all bullshit. Like I don't know why they hate to play so much other than that the Eagles can do it good. I mean, okay, it doesn't look any different than a quarterback sneak. So, they say it's safety, and then they say that it's the way it looks, on TV. To me, it's no different than what a quarterback sneak is.
No.
It's just the Eagles do it really, really well, and nobody else can do it. And I feel like Buffalo used the tush push as an excuse on why they lost in the AFC Championship game, because they couldn't in the fourth quarter. They tried twice and didn't get it. And, they always have to have an excuse why they can't beat Kansas City.
No, and I don't think teams are practicing it enough in practice. I don't think it's in their daily routine before a big matchup to put a play like that in their playbook, in their play sheet for the week. I don't think teams are actually practicing that play. I think the Eagles emphasize a lot on there. But I figured since Jeffrey Lurie said, hey, we're going to resurrect the fullback position, that they were getting prepared that this tush push was going to get banned. So now adding a fullback in the mix, there's a bunch of different things they could do now,
Well, see, here's the thing. The Eagles are smart. If you go back and you watch like our videos a couple years ago, talking about the running game and the running back and the lack of running backs getting paid, and we were, you'd see the articles and that stuff. The running back position is basically dead. Howie Roseman realized that I got one of the best offensive lines. I could go out and get myself a running back like Saquon Barkley. And these defenses are not built to stop the run in the NFL. You look at our schedule, okay? We got a hard schedule. We play good teams. But all those teams are not good against the run. These teams are built, their defenses are built to rush the passer and stop the passing game. The Eagles have such an advantage running the ball that teams can't handle it. I don't think anybody can stop them. Now you add a fullback, you add A.J. Dillon, another year with Shipley, Jalen Hurts, and his ability to run. I don't think teams can handle it. They're gonna. You watch in about another year, all the teams are gonna go out and get running backs, and they're gonna be bringing in defensive linemen to stop the run because most of these teams can't stop the run.
No,
and Howie knew it. You know,
it's a copycat league too, because look at like even the draft is a perfect example. Like they didn't want the Eagles to land anything in their grasp. They didn't want a player to drop that landed right in their hand, which the player that they wanted still did. But you saw these teams draft. How many offensive linemen were taken in the first round? Like five offensive linemen. How many defensive linemen were taking the draft? A lot. How many teams traded up and gave up way too much for not even a blue chip player, but just maybe a ceiling player that, you know what I mean? Like you're giving up a second round pick and a future first for Jalen Pierce. I mean, just weird trades, man. Just jumping in front of the Eagles. No one taking Howie Roseman's calls. Like it's a copycat league. Sure, they could take the best players in front of us in the draft with Howie Roseman, but he's smarter than that, man. It's just just crazy.
Oh yeah, Howie's two steps ahead of everybody else. Everybody's going to try to adjust to what Howie does, and then Howie will adjust again. K. Robinson says, "It's funny how it was the AFC teams except the Lions and Saints. Yeah, those teams voted with us. It's crazy." Matt says, "What is there to verify by effort?" All right, Mav, I hear you. First beer's on you, Mav. Dan says, makes sense, Pat. I don't know what that means. I know the comparison may be different because Tatum wasn't different compared to Nakobe. So Nakobe being, I think you're talking about being undersized safety that hits hard. Look, I think the Eagles look at him and they think he's very comparable to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Remember, when C.J. Gardner-Johnson was traded to the Eagles, he was traded as a nickel corner. He wasn't even a safety. He's got to put on size and stuff himself. So even though Makuma's a little light, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think the Eagles want a corner that could cover. You know what I mean? And I mean a safety that could cover the middle of the field, especially. And I think that's why they look at him as a good fit. You know, and that's why I think he has a chance to start. I think because the one thing I worry about with like Sidney Brown is I think Sidney Brown's a hitter. I think Sidney Brown's more of a guy who could be a good box safety. I don't know how great he covers. Yeah. I think Nakobe is going to be a good coverage safety. You know what I mean?
And there's no issue with that. Like, you know, because Fangio is now starting to put his hands all through this roster now because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson wasn't a Fangio guy. I mean, he was here before Fangio got here. So, I mean, now with that being done and that trade going down, you know, now he gets his safety. I don't think he likes big safety. He likes those fast, average, you know, average size to below average, maybe, versatile type players. And Nakobe packs a punch, man. And I think we're going to see some things from him. So, you know, from a coverage standpoint, you're going to get the most out of him, no doubt.
Right, right. Makuba's 186. CJ's 208 now. I don't know what CJ. I'd have to look and see what he was when he came out as a out of the draft. But I thought I read somewhere Nakobe was already 194. I swear I read that somewhere that he was already in the 190s. So he could put on the weight. I don't think that's going to be a problem. It just may take time, you know. I mean, look, I think safety is a legitimate question for the Eagles because, one, you didn't need to create that hole, but you did anyways. Now, I think this kid can play. I think he can play. He's a rookie, though. How long does it take? And does Sidney Brown rise up and win the position, you know? So it's going to be interesting. And at worst case scenario, you go out and you bring Justin Simmons in for a year. I mean, you could do that and be competent, you know? Yeah,
I'm not against it if Nakobe is here. Like, if Nakobe wasn't here and they just brought in a Justin Simmons, I think that's what we were really against. It's like, oh, they're just putting a Band-Aid on the position, bringing in a guy that Vic Fangio knows, that he played his best under Fangio. And, you know, but since they brought him in, like, if they feel like, Nakobe's not looking great, you know, which I'll be kind of shocked if he's not showing anything. You know, then there's always, you know, Justin Simmons literally is, you know, he's sitting by his phone the entire time. This is his first spot. I mean, he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I didn't want them to not get a safety and then bring in Justin Simmons.
Right.
If they bring in Justin Simmons and they bring in a safety also that can challenge for a starting spot, that's all I could ask for. You know, Zach's a surprise move, I believe, would be we sign Simmons, and then we will trade Brown. You think we'll trade Brown? Interesting. I don't know if we'll trade Brown, but I think Simmons is very possible. Very, very possible. K. Robinson says, CJ put on weight when he got here. It looked skinny when he came in. He got bigger. He did. But yeah, I mean, he was traded as a corner. He was a nickel corner that was being moved to safety. So he had to put on weight too. I think we'll be okay. I do.
We went into the beginning of this past offseason as like, oh, we're set. We just need a couple pieces to, you know, Chauncey got traded. Then Goddard was seeking a trade. You know, it was, you know, the Eagles told Goddard to seek out a trade. And then we were like, man, going into this draft, like, man, these two positions are really making us nervous now, because when we thought we were going to get this guy or one of these few guys maybe in range, now there's these other two positions that are lingering right now. And they took care of it. I mean, I think they took care of it. So, you know,
we're going to find. I think that there are legitimate questions of safety. We all knew we needed safety. We did. We did. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I wish they would have kept like, to me, perfect case scenario would have been draft this Mukumba kid and keep CJ Gardner-Johnson one more year. And then let that kid take over after a year. That to me would have been much better. But it is what it is at this point. David says, you used to say Sidney Brown could be there for years to come behind a rookie. I don't think so. I think he will hit hard and cover better year 3 full season and he might. I mean, look, I thought he was very promising his rookie year. But that injury kind of threw him back.
Yeah, it did.
You know, and so I don't know where he is right now. I think Sidney Brown's one of those guys I think is an interesting guy to watch, where it would not surprise me if he was like a lot better than we thought he's going to be, and it wouldn't surprise me if he was worse. I just don't know.
And I don't think they're going to move Sidney Brown anyway, just because he's got too much value on special teams. He's way too good on special teams for them to get rid of him. So unless, I don't know, they need as many safeties in this room as possible right now. So there's no,
I like Sidney Brown. I like his attitude. I like the way he plays. I like the way he hits.
Yeah.
You know, we're just gonna have to wait and see. I think it's going to be an interesting competition this summer, because I think that safety position is wide open. I think that corner position is wide open. I mean, I think Adoree Jackson's there to challenge Ringo.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see, you know. I mean, is there any other veteran safety out there? Is there any safety that we're not thinking of that could be on a trade block that could get moved? Is there somebody else out there?
Blackman's still out there from the Colts.
Julian Blackman's back out there. Yeah, he didn't sign. I mean, I don't think the Chargers will trade Derwin James, would they? I don't want Derwin James. No, they won't. No. But, I mean, we'll see. David says I think Ringo's better than Jackson, too. I think Ringo is going up against Jackson because the Eagles want him to win the job. But if for some reason Ringo struggles and Jackson has to go in there, I think he can be competent at doing it.
Yeah.
You know.
We took one Giants corner and turned him into a pretty good corner for 1 year. And James Bradbury, I mean, he gave up over 800 yards against receivers when he was with the Giants the year before we got him. I mean, he played horrible. We know how bad the Giants are, how bad that defense was that year. So, you know, when we got him, I didn't expect James Bradbury to do anything, and look what he did. They turned one of the best corners in 2022. So, they could do it again and they could do it with him. So another veteran on this team, you know. But
I keep seeing people say the Eagles' defense will be around top 15, like in the top 15 range. I think they're going to be top 5 again. I think they're going to be a lot better than people think. I like their speed. I like the depth on the defensive line. I like the fact that you have guys like Jalen Hunt playing well in the playoffs. Zach Bond, to me, was the key to the whole defense. Now you've got a replacement for Nakobe Dean if you need to have him. I think the secondary with another year of Q, another year of Coop,
Yeah.
another year of Reed Blankenship, I think you're good there. I think Ringo's going to surprise a lot of people. And then I think the safety spot is the spot that if we could get that spot squared away, I think this defense is going to be just as effective as it was a year ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the number one thing comes down with this offseason program for a lot of these guys that really need to show, like the important ones, like Ringo and some of the others, like they got to stay healthy. They can't miss weeks. They can't miss that really important time because, it's going to take them time to get back. And depending on what the injury is, like, when Cooper DeJean got hurt, we were like, man, we need him to play. He only showed up that third preseason game and he got in to some snaps the first few weeks before the bye, and then post bye week, by week 4 or 5, he was the full-time starter, and that was it. It was good night. That defense was just flawless after that. So
yeah, I agree. Frank's biggest concern is corner. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from there. I do. I just feel like Ringo can play though. A-War Raid says, of course, YouTube didn't notify me. No, YouTube's been on my ass lately, dude. They've been killing me lately, so I'm not surprised.
Splenda 64 says Huff getting traded for 500's missing neck.
Dude, I'll take a neck.
Would you do it?
Straight up. Yeah. Let me tell you something, dude. I said in my video yesterday, I was jealous Jordan Davis has got a neck now. Did you see Jordan Davis in that basketball? Okay, in that basketball video, the whole thing everybody was talking about was the dunk. All right, there's Cooper DeJean.
Right.
Take on. That's not the video. The important stuff of the video were two things. One, Nakobe Dean is moving around, doing twirly whirlies and running around the gym with no brace. Looks good. The other thing is, look at Jordan Davis. All right, Jordan Davis got a jawline showing, squared face. His head's not so round; it's more like squared off. Dude's got abs. I mean, dude, Jordan Davis looks light. Yeah. He looks so good, and I said that before. But man, I'm jealous of his jawline. I'm jealous he's got a neck now. Man, it motivates me to go get a neck myself. But Jordan Davis looks like he's in good shape, dude. He looks good. And I said that before, but I mean, he looks lighter now. Sometimes I think Jordan Davis comes in shape to camp or comes in lighter, but then by the time we get to the end of the year, he puts the weight back on. He looks better now, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, and he's here for 2 more years now. He's here for this season and pick up the option for next year, which is great. So we have him for 2 more years.
Yeah, Davis had a water balloon for that. He had a gigantic
water balloon.
But he looks good, though. I'm serious, man. I think Jordan Davis is going to have a monster year. RP Stewart says, what up, Philly 500? Have a great Memorial Day. Going to be tuning in the rest of the way. Loving life of tough as it is. Peace. I agree. Teams seem to like each other's company. Yes, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And Philly has a crush on Jordan Davis. Yeah, that's what they say. Jordan Davis was my eggnog drinking buddy, I can relate to Jordan Davis. But now he's getting all in shape, man. He's moving on without me. I got to catch up. We're going to see who has a bigger neck by September. K. Roberts says, eat all those cheesesteaks in Philly, right? Agreed. Jim Bo says, well, Philly just got here. What's going on? How are you? So, I guess we both agree, though, right? Like, if the Eagles are going to make a move, it's probably going to be on defense over offense, right?
Yeah, I agree.
How are you feeling about the offense goes as far as we got almost everybody back? I mean, you feel good about what we're going to do at right guard?
Yeah, right guard, I think straight up it's going to be a competition. It's just who's really going to rise up, who's going to stay healthy in the process. Tyler Steen needs to stay healthy this offseason because while he was, in competition last year with Becton, he ended up getting hurt. I think Becton was taking the job anyway. You have the kid from Michigan, obviously. You have Green from the Chauncey trade, so Yeah, I think there's going to be a straight up competition there. I mean, I think they feel comfortable with what they have, and under Jeff Stoutland, I think we'll do good there.
You think it's Steen's spot? You think it's Steen?
I'm not really sure. I mean, he should have the job just because he's been here, and he should be ahead of a lot of other guys. The kid from Michigan, I'm really looking at. I want to see Trevor Keegan. I want to see if Kenyon Green, from the Chauncey trade, he's a former first round pick. I want to see what they do with him. So yeah.
There's options there.
But Mulata was talking about the tackle position. He's like, it was the interview. It was one of the press conferences, I think, a day or two before the Tush Push meeting. And he said that, these guys are working really hard. Like, he likes, the Cameron Williams kid, the sixth round pick from Texas. He likes Hinton from Michigan. I think Hinton is going to be really good. I think that draft that we just had is going to get, I think you'll hit on whether they're starters or rotational guys. Okay. I think you'll hit on 4 guys of that draft, 4 to 5, maybe. Hinton, I think, will be the starting right tackle of the future when Lane's retired. Wow. I think they'll move him around. So,
what do you think of the Rutgers kid? I forget his name offhand, but he's 6'8", 350 pounds, dude. I mean, is he could he play guard, or is he too big? You have to play
I think that kid is I think he's just not as great from a technique standpoint. He's just one of those, like, oh, look how big this guy is. The athletic ability is there, and Stoutland loves that when he sees guys at that size.
Right.
And then to see what they do.
Well, that's where Stoutland shines, right? Yeah. I mean, that's where he shines. He develops those guys. I mean, Stoutland he always gets something out of guys. I mean, even Dillard. Look at Andre Dillard. Bust of a first-round pick. The final year of his contract in Philly, he starts and he plays really well, gets a big contract with the Titans. Stunk it up after that, but only Stoutland could do that. I mean, these guys, I think the Eagles, depth-wise on that offensive line, it's going to be sick. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, the Dillard situation is a weird one to me because I felt like they didn't really, I don't know. I felt like they didn't because remember he redshirted his first year and then he switched sides and then a lot of stuff happened, but he could stay healthy. I mean, the main thing was his health. He ended up getting a contract. Then he didn't really last. He got hurt. I forgot. He just signed to a team not even a few days ago. I forgot. He just signed somewhere. I forgot where. So
I want to say Baltimore, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
You might be right. Maybe.
Yeah. Jay Rizzo says, peace and blessings, my brothers. Does Jake Elliott get company this year? I think he needs competition. I think he needs competition too. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But I think you're right. I think it would be a good idea. Now, there are reports and stuff out there that he was actually hurt last year, that he had injuries that, nobody ever talked about. So that could have been part of why he was struggling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would do
it. Jimbo says, Joey Shakes, what's up, my brother?
What's up, Jimbo? What's going on, man?
Splendid says, 500. Howie will not trade for defense. He will instead trade for Mayer, the Raiders. That's how he moved. The tight end. Maybe. I mean, maybe. I think Howie's capable of anything, to be honest with you. I think that the way they might make a signing here or there, but I think most likely they go into camp, they see what they have, and then they adjust accordingly. And I think that's what they're going to kind of do.
Yeah.
Daniel, man, David Super Chat goes, I remember you wanted to play the young guys on D. Absolutely. And look at that was the plan. Play the young guys and let the defense catch up to the offense by the end of the year. Defense was way ahead of where I thought they would be. But now you look at it, right? We talk about this. I mean, we talked about this all last year. Play the young guys on defense. Now look at it. You got Quinyon Mitchell, starter, right? Cooper DeJean, starter. These guys are going only into their second year. They've started pretty much all last year. Plus, they played in the playoffs. Plus, they played in a Super Bowl. Jalix Hunt played. all these young guys. We got like the youngest defense in the league, and they've all played. They've all got minutes. They've all been on the field. I mean, that's invaluable. One of the things I didn't like with Doug was that you get young guys, and it would take 2 years to play them.
Yeah,
it would take too long to develop. Trusted the veterans too much. I love that they played so many young guys last year, dude. I love it.
Yeah, and I think Jim Schwartz was the same way. I think he had his favorites. There's a lot of veteran favoritism, like you said, on the offensive side of the ball. Definitely happened on the defensive side of the ball. Like, what about what's his face that we were like, man, they need to play him more. That went to Chicago. TJ Edwards. He was another one that should have started earlier in his career. And when he was flashing. They would take him out of the game and they would never really play him. Shit like that. I'm glad this coaching staff, we need to start, thinking that this team is going to change and how their offseason program and what they do after a season is over. Like, you're going to let guys walk, as Philly says, getting full, being satisfied and letting guys walk, because you have to try. I know, like, nobody wants to have a hole on the team, and then you have to sit by the draft, and you have to be like so nervous about, you gotta just pay attention to, producing these players in the offseason program and drafting well. And when you have you want to build a dynasty, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to let guys walk. You can't re-sign everybody, but you have to lock up guys that are going to be the future of this team, which they're doing now, and this is why they're saving money down the road. So,
yeah, exactly. Tim says 500. Lane Johnson is a first ballot Hall of Famer. You think he can make the WWE at the end? I think Lane could definitely be good in the WWE if he chose to do that. There's no question about it, and he is a Hall of Famer. Yeah, I think Lane could do whatever he wants to do, man. I think he's talented. Dad says, I think Sidney Brown is going to ball out, and Makuba will take over next year, and Sidney will be gone. So you think he has like a good year? Earns money to start, gets paid to go somewhere else. Could. I think it's going to be wide open. I think we'll know, in camp and practice. Like, you remember last year, they go to practice and it's like, all right, here's the starting defense. Here are the ones. Here are the twos. And that, for the most part, that was correct, except for the fact that Nakobe Dean was a backup all camp. And then right before the season, it's like, oh, he's starting. Remember? And they had Devin White. And it was like, boy, he did nothing. That was crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, and I think Devin White, thought he was going to start because he had that interview in the locker room. Yeah, I guess that's the decision they want to make. And I think he was kind of surprised by it because that's what we're reading every single day by the beat writers. I mean, so
I was doing practice every day, and it was like, I'd go through who's starting, who was running with the ones, and every day White was running with the ones. And then Nakobe Dean was nowhere to be found. And it was like, and he was doing nothing. Remember, you didn't hear of anything about Nakobe Dean. Remember, because I'm not judging Nakobe Dean. I'm not going to say he's a bust. We're going to see what he does when the season starts. But it doesn't look good right now. We watched the open practice. Remember, he missed like 8.
It was horrible.
And it was like a shock. But then Nakobe Dean goes out there and kills it. Yeah. So sometimes you just don't know,
Yeah, it's true.
It's crazy. Packet Pack, thank you for the super chat. Philly, I'm not a hater. I just don't think it's okay to aid another player across the line. What if the Cowboys carry Deuce Vaughn across every time? I mean, if they can do it, do it. I have no issue that you don't like a rule. And thank you for super chat. What I have an issue is that teams gang up on one team because they don't like something. Like, you don't like a rule, fine, change the rules. I get that. But the way that the whole thing went down with it was they lied about saying it was because of injuries. Then they kind of complain about that it doesn't look like a football type play and doesn't come over well on TV. Like, they had to lie and make excuses up. Then you have the vote and nobody's going to vote for it. So you freeze the vote and you wait and you spend a month and a half trying to convince teams to go out and do something, and you do it all you do it all to go after one specific team. Those are the issues that I have with it. To me, if you want to shut it down with stopping it. Stop it, and then teams will stop doing it. That's how I see it. But to me, the bigger issue isn't that, okay, you don't like a certain player, you don't think players should be pushed. All right, fine, change the rules. But the way they went about it, in my opinion, was it was really just, it wasn't honest. It wasn't right.
The only times it was stopped this past in 24 was, I think, the Tampa Bay game where they did it. I think it was inside the 5 or something like that. They did it against Tampa Bay, but I think Jalen Hurts had his face mask pulled on that play, which couldn't get him over the line. The next time it happened, I think, was against Washington. I think Washington has been the only team that stopped it that one time. I think the only team that has stopped it. And it's not, and then look, it's not an easy play to stop either, but if it's such a good play, why doesn't everybody just use it at this point? You know what I mean? But we're not talking about, if the Eagles got away with something from a penalty that should have been called, they need to change like a penalty process in the game. Sure, I get that. But we're talking about like a play in the playbook.
Right.
That it's open to everybody. It's just,
Yeah. David Cleary says, Pat 500, you're nuts. Von Miller is done. You're talking that Quinn guy from the Bears all over again. Waste of time and money. Dunce David, I would say that, one, the Quinn situation was completely different in that Quinn had 17 and a half sacks. Everybody was looking at him to come in and be a main contributor. The Von Miller thing would be more of a rotational guy, a backup guy, a third string guy. That's how we look at it.
And you traded for him, and you traded for Quinn.
Yeah,
for
and he's a free agent. He is coming off 6 sacks. And I'm not saying anything. I was just talking about a report that was out. So it's not like I'm sitting there making a case that we should go and sign him. I'm just saying what was reported, what's been out. So. Thank you, Dunce David. I'll call you Dunce David.
And I feel like
Dunce David.
And I feel like if Fangio wants a guy, you're gonna have to just trust in his judgment that there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
We never really question what Fangio does, and when we're like, oh, it's there's a reason why, and every decision he's made has been a success story with a player going. You know what I mean? So.
Well, it's like I said earlier in the show. I don't think they need them. Like, I like their line. I think it's pretty deep. However, if they want to bring in a veteran, I'm not opposed to it. That's all I said. That was all I said. Dad says, I'm a huge Nakobe fan guy, but it's going to be hard for him to beat out Sydney as a rookie. Now, once Nakobe learns the system, watch out. Maybe. I mean, we'll see. I mean, thing is why not give the rookies every opportunity to win the job? You had guys last year as rookies come in and win the jobs and play at a high level. Why go away from that? If you got the coaches like Christian Parker and the guys that could go out and teach these guys, let them play. I'm okay. Listen, if you're looking and you're saying Nakobe is the better safety long term, he has more talent than Sidney Brown, I'm okay playing him, even if he's not technically as ready as Sidney Brown. Right. I'll go through the mistakes and let him play because of his upside. But, I mean, playing the young guys, it totally worked. I mean, how many people thought last year that Jalix Hunt was going to play as much as he did? We were talking about him being a project safety that was, becoming an edge rusher. So to me, it worked so well for you playing the young rookies and playing through their mistakes and letting them learn. I say if it's even close, you play Nakobe, in my opinion.
You got to play. Yeah, you have to play these guys regardless. Like, you got to give it a few weeks. I mean, you're playing, and on top of everything else, these guys on defense, like they're playing like the top offense in the league. You know what I mean? Like they have, iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. You'll see guys go against A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You'll see guys going against one of the best offensive lines. They're going to try some guys out and see what they do, man. And I think it's going to work out to see, who's going to make it.
Yeah, please do not Please do not be timing people out. I'm not cool with that. Please time 10 minutes, please. If he wants to come in and call me names, David clearly has every right to do it. Let him do it. Please do not time him out for that. So David, I apologize. I apologize to you for getting timed out. That was not my intention for you to be timed out. I didn't like that. You don't need to be timed out. It's okay, Danielson. My bad. It's okay. Yeah, don't worry about it. You can call me names. I'll just call names back. So it just, it evens out. The Vanilla Gorilla is going to be a problem. I think Robinson's going to be a big problem. I think he's going to be good, dude. He may be the steal. He looks like a monster, dude. People were saying at rookie camp, like, holy crap, this dude's big, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna find him in the rotation, see what he could do, man. In that second rotation, probably. Will probably be in Milt's spot. You have Moro Jomo there, which is great. You have Thomas Booker, that's getting better. It really flashed, and he made some good plays during the season as a rotational guy. So I like that DT room a lot more now. Definitely a lot more.
Yeah, I do too. Donald says, you said it 100% right on, guys. The D plays the best receivers in football and learn from the best. Let them play and learn. I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, if your guys are similar, talent-wise, and let the younger guy play, I would rather go through the mistakes with, at safety than the guy that's not the long-term answer. Like, if Sidney Brown, like Daz was saying, all right, he's going to play 1 year, start, be good, and then leave. I'd rather play Makumba and let him learn, because if he plays all year and learns all year, maybe by the playoffs he starts playing better football. And if not, by year 2, he's got a whole year of experience. You know what I mean? So I say you just got to play the young guys. You had so much success doing that. Why go away from it? That would be my question.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, thank you for the super chat. He goes, love the pods. Been sub before the first Super Bowl we won. Appreciate that so much, man. Thank you. Dad says, I've been deep diving into Ty Robinson's tape. He's talented as hell. I had Riley Mills over him, but after the interview, I totally get why I drafted him. Yeah, man. People are saying that he is, coming out of college, he is ahead of where Milton Williams was coming out. So we're going to see what this kid can do. I also think Ojomo gets slept on. He's another guy I think played really well.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not the best. Maybe he's not the best against the run, but I mean, dude, I think he's way better than people think. 500. How long until our rookies are signed? I remember it took until July for Jurgens to be signed. I think we've got I think there are 3 guys left, right? I think Cameron Williams, Kumba, and then Jahad Campbell are the 2-3 guys left. They'll be signed by camp. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. They'll be signed by camp. They've got OTA'S this week. Then you've got a mandatory mini camp first week of June, I think. And then I think you have something like the 9th or 10th for a day, and then they break to training camp. I think by the time that's all done, they'll be signed.
Yeah, I agree.
Ojomo could have a huge year. He could. I agree. Powell Riley is going to contribute. I think teams get too wrapped in the short arms narrative and ignore the tape. Oh, man.
We always forget his name.
I know. Yeah. Where, you know what? It's like if he goes out and makes some plays, that'll all change. It'll change really quick, dude. Look, dude, last year I keep forgetting what Jalen Hunt's name was. I couldn't remember his first name. I was like, I called him Jalen, After he goes and makes a couple plays, you don't forget anymore. Dude, he to me is like, he is my giant gem sleeper this year. I think he's going to be way better than people think. Yeah. I get Trent Cole vibes with him. I do.
He came on pretty good in the playoffs, and he had a late start. He had that off-season minor surgery stuff, and then he just played special teams, and then he got put into the rotation really late. Even Fangio said he needed time. He just needed time, and he's not from a big. He's not from a he doesn't come from some big school or anything. in a huge conference in college or anything like that. So, I mean, with all the reps he got, it's like Nolan Smith was popping off by the end of the year, but then when that playoff game happened, boom, he was popping off. Jalix Hunt was popping off. I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah, it really was. This team's going to do a variety of down. It really is. It really is. I agree. Ring ceremony. I think the ring ceremony is like
June 12th.
I think first week of June. Something is it June 12th?
It
something like that. It's right before they break for camp. It's before everything, that month off.
And we don't know what that ring looks like yet.
Are you gonna get a ring?
Oh, yeah. I already have the other one.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one. No doubt about it. I think we're gonna run heavy to start the season, start passing way more later in the season. I still think Barkley stays healthy. We'll hit 2,000. I know. I'm just telling you, I know the Eagles don't want to give him the ball 350 times. I get it. But I just got this weird feeling he's getting 2,000 yards. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not saying that I have good reason to think that. It's just a gut feeling. I feel like Barkley's in a really special window right now, where the next 2-3 years he's going to be doing things we haven't seen. I just feel that way.
He. I don't think he said. I think on the Exciting Mike's podcast, he was talking about. I don't think he even ran a lap or did anything. And he did nothing with his legs until OTA'S. He took a massive break, which was well deserved. And I don't know how you feel after a 2,000-yard season like that. I don't know how your body feels after that. He seemed like he looked pretty good. I mean,
yeah, he does. He looks good. He looks fresh. And really, people have said it. He didn't get – if you look at the hits he took last year, usually they were cornerbacks, smaller linebackers. He didn't take a beating, and I think that helps a lot. But I don't know. Barkley, to me, no running back has ever gone back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons.
Bro,
it's never happened.
Look at the stats on average.
It's a hard thing to do.
Look at the average yardage. When you bring in those product type guys that will get 1,000 yards behind an offensive line like this, with Miles Sanders, with Swift, and some of the other guys, they only average 4.5 yards, maybe 5, maybe 4.5 yards a carry. Barkley, I think, was averaging 7 yards, 6, 7 yards a carry. I mean, it's just insane, bro. It's just crazy having him.
He was tackled at the 1-yard line, I think, 11 times.
That's crazy shit.
Dude had 20 touchdowns.
It's another thing with the tush push too. It's all right, you take that away, we get hit at the 1, and who cares? It's you got AJ Dillon. I mean, Saquon, just run it with Saquon. He's just going to add to his numbers. Realistically, it's not going to hurt us. Whatever.
No, it's not. It's not. Joey Davis Super Chat goes, after the draft, which NFC teams are the toughest? I would say I have the Eagles 1. I'm going to say Eagles 1, Lions 2, Rams 3. That's probably my top 3.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think the Rams got better than a year ago. I think they improved. So those would be my top 3. Dread says 500. Tell Joey to give me and Splenda Wise back. This isn't cool. Joey, give them their wives back. Apparently, you're taking their wives. Fatty Taylor says 500. Did you see Jalen Daniels pick up muscle? The Eagles are going to crush him. No, I've not seen Jalen Daniels. I mean, no. Did he put some muscle? He's got to put on some weight. So that's not surprising. Jalen Daniels is a good quarterback. He's going to be good. There's no doubt about it. I think he's a good player. I think the Lions are taking a step back personally. They may. I mean, they lost a lot of coaches, so they may. But I still think, when you look at the teams, I look at Washington, I say, okay, I think they got a little bit better, but I don't know how much. I think Dallas got better just being the fact that Dak's back. You got a little help at wide receiver. But, I mean, I don't think to me they're like a playoff, trying to contribute to the playoffs. I think the Lions are still one of the better teams in the NFC, and I also think the Rams too. So
yeah,
If you want to put the Rams 2 and Lions 3, I'm okay with that. I have no issue with that.
Yeah, the Rams got Devontae Adams now at receiver, I think, too, right now.
They did, yeah. They let Cooper Kupp go, right? But they still got Nakobe Dean, and their defensive line's pretty good. I think they're going to be better. I think the Rams are a good team. Now they got a quarterback who's older, so at what point does he wear out? That's the question.
Yeah,
But I think the problem with the Rams, and the problem what I see with a lot of these teams, is if you can't stop the run, you can't beat the Eagles. The Rams could not stop the run. In 2 games last year, Barkley had 4 50-plus yard runs against the Rams. I don't think they can stop the run. I don't think many of these teams can stop the run. And if you can't, you're not going to beat the Eagles. That's how I see it.
I mean, the Super Bowl is a perfect example, too, because even if Saquon Barkley was back there where Kansas City sold out to really stop Barkley, which they did, you have to compensate for single coverage all down the line.
Right.
And that just gave, Hurts to throw the ball all game and make it that easy. So Barkley just sitting back there without doing, just him being back there, he doesn't have to do anything.
Right, he's a threat.
Is just a huge threat. Yeah,
and that's the thing is if you look at the teams and these defensive lines are constructed, they're constructed to get to the quarterback. They're not to stop the run. Not many teams in this league I feel can stop the run, especially with their front. So I don't think teams match up with the Eagles. That's why the Eagles are like 2 steps ahead of everybody, because these teams can't stop the run. They're going to have a problem beating Eagles. And I think that you'll see them adjust. It'll take a few years because you can't just do it in 1 year. But I think you'll start to see teams start to adjust to having to worry about stopping the run. I don't think teams focus on that defensively. I think they focus on the passing game. Right. And I think that puts the Eagles ahead of everybody else. And as far as the question about the Hard Knocks East that was just up there, I look forward to it. I can't wait to watch it. I think that's going to be must-see TV. I really enjoyed the NFC North one last year. So, it should be fun to watch.
Totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Eagles should run the brotherly shove play against the Packers for a touchdown, followed up with a brotherly shove celebration. And I agree. You got to rub it in. I want Green Bay. I want the fans booing every time the Eagles line up to it. You know what I mean?
Great.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But anyways, I'll say this before we get out of here. Saquon is rumored to be the cover athlete on Madden. I hate this. Hate it. Don't like it. Don't want it. I don't want to mess around. Whether you believe in the curse or you don't, I don't even want to play with it. Put Dak Prescott on there. The game stinks anyways. They have that game needs a rebuild from bottom up. So we'll see. Yeah, Joey, you stole Splenda's wife and she has my neck or something. I don't know. You guys are crazy. It's interesting. So, is there anything else, man, you want to say before we get out of here? We're over an hour in, so everybody wants to.
Yeah, everyone enjoy their holiday weekend and whatever you're doing, if you're barbecuing or hanging out with family and stuff this weekend. We're just waiting on camp, and it's going to be probably one of the most exciting camps we've probably been through, because the younger the team gets, the more competition there's going to be, and I'm looking forward to it. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun, no doubt about it. But all right, guys, we are going to let you guys go. We hope you have a wonderful, wonderful night. Wonderful weekend. And with that said, we out of here. And you'll see videos from us in coming days for sure. Yes.
With that, peace. We out.
Peace out. Bye.
2 minutes to go. You have plenty of time.
Come on.
Oh, shit! Dad! No!
It's over! It's over! This game is over! Cut it off! It's over!
Fuck.
Congratulations, Green Bay. Congratulations, Green Bay. Congratulations, Green Bay.
I said run the ball.
Congratulations, Green Bay. Dak Prescott, you need to be fired today. That was on you, Dad. That was on you, Dad. That was on you, Dad.
I said run the ball.
That was on Dak Prescott. Trying to feed him.
Where the hell is he throwing it
Trying to feed the CeeDee Lamb. Trying to feed the CeeDee Lamb. You tried to feed the CeeDee Lamb. You got to give it to CeeDee Lamb. God. It's over. It's over, Dak. Put Trey Lance in the game. Trey Lance can't do worse than you.
I'm an idiot because I buy into this shit. I buy into this shit. Because here's the thing. I am a grown-ass man. And I talk the talk. It is killing me.
I feel it coming. I feel like it's going to take Jerry Jones taking it. Cut it off. It's over.